What is it about one person that would have that glow or the funness in life and stuff, and not another? What is? I've often.
But you have it, and you don't know. You know, I've known you quite a long time, and you do like to come whenever you want to. That's nice. And you do travel a lot, or you have been traveling a lot.
I have in the past. I've slowed down, and I'm doing it.
But you see, you keep coming, but you're still going. I've known you so long, and you come every Sunday, but really, you should have been cured by Monday. All it is, naughty, naughty. Now I forgot what it is.
We should have been cured by Monday.
Yeah, it's right. In a manner of speaking. Because I remember, it's so simple when I look back. And I look back on a memory which is, how can I say it? It's something that seems not so important. When I was 8 years old, I've told you that story. My cousin was cruel, and I must have reacted because I had a big stone inside there, and I wondered, where do they come from? And knowing full well, to start to struggle, already, so I'm not going to struggle with this, I don't know what it is. And I let it go. That's all you got to do. That's the hell of it. That's all there is to it. And then immediately you'll understand. Start to understand and see things. It's taken me all these years to know what I'm doing and how I can help people. But the good ones never come back. Or they do come back because they love me. And they just want to have it, maybe I can hear something else. But you're all dead. Especially you. Mm-hmm. You should have been cured of that.
Diabetes.
Yes.
I got juvenile diabetes. And
it's a wonder you're alive.
Well, yeah, and I changed my diet, but, you know, there's a lot to work on. You know, I still...
No, there's nothing to work on.
Well,
you don't get it.
The diet.
Now, listen.
Yeah.
When you say, how did you say it again?
The diet that I changed my diet.
I know.
And there's a lot to work on.
But there's something you said before that.
Yeah, a lot to work on. In other words...
there is nothing to work on. Absolutely nothing to work. Mm-hmm. It is just as opposite. It's 180 degrees opposite of what I'm teaching you. There's nothing to it.
Yeah.
There's nothing to it. All it means when you see something, like as an 8-year-old boy, oh, that's interesting. I let it go. What about, don't you understand the beauty of that? But the minute you start to fix things, try to figure it yourself, the minute you start to do that, it's all gone. Yeah.
This is going to take a second, but I came to your ranch 10 years ago, and there was a child, and I've spoken this once before, and I was in the back, and I said to you, Roy, I'm possessed. And you said, oh, it just wants to come out and play, and there was a child in the room, so you dismissed me. Well, that caused resentments inside of me.
What was that?
It caused resentment inside of me towards you.
What did I say? I couldn't quite hear it.
Oh, you just kind of dismissed me because you were saying that, oh, whatever's inside of you just wants to come out and play. But there was also a child in the room, so you couldn't deal with me in that moment.
Yeah,
but there was something inside, and if I can finish the whole story. So I left there, and something inside resented you and took me astray for 7 years. So 3 years ago, I came back to you, and a lot of good things I was seeing. And then last week, you yelled at me.
I did.
And then I went home.
I yell at her all the time.
Listen, it was the
because
best
she's so
thing.
bloody stubborn.
And that was it. And so you were asking. So I just went home and sat for hours. And for the first time in the 3 years, because something resented you again. Oh, he doesn't know everything. That's the thought
Yeah,
that
but
came.
that's not you.
No, I realize that. But I finally saw it. But it took 3 years. And I don't know why it took 3 years.
Naughty, naughty.
But so
You just weren't ready.
that was all it was. I thought there was something so dreadful inside of me that like I had to have, I almost felt like I had to see something come out of me, like darkness or something, to believe it left me. But the truth
what
was...
you're doing is playing with an idea.
Yes.
You're playing with an idea. Your thought is this, and your thought is that.
Yes.
There's no thoughts at all.
No.
You've got to give up the thought. That's it. And how do you do that? You stand back. Meditation causes you to stand back and be disconnected from the soul, disconnected from the monkey brain. The monkey brain, your brain is like a monkey. I can't find the word for it, but it's the kind of thinking that an animal thinks with. Emotions. Emotions have separated your spirit from God.
Yes.
And it got stuck to the monkey brain. And so therefore, the system is from the outside. Emotion affecting the monkey brain, and monkey brain, because the monkey brain is under the order of the world around, it pulls the soul to stick to it. And therefore you can't, you could become disconnected from God. A perfect disconnecting. You can't serve two masters. You respond to one or the other. But you come into the world, and when you come into the world, I keep saying it over and over again, that's what happens. Your mother transforms, or is, can't find the word for it, but he is inherited. Every generation is inherited from the generation of every race and color and creed, the same thing. And we do not think, we do not realize that we're all stuck in the same mire, all of us, every living person. But there are people that have intuition yet, buried down there amongst a whole bunch of emotionalities. And so the beginning of your walk back to God is to be still. And how do you be still? Well, I found out that when you close your eyes and look at your eyelids, and if thought comes, whatever it is, it can come in any strange way. But then you just look at it, and you get pulled in, and you wait for a minute, and suddenly you're out, and you're seeing the little pixels moving across the screen of the mind, which are basically equivalent to a little thing you put in your computer, and all kinds of wonderful things happen on your screen. They're little tiny things, little drops of light. It's not really drops of light, but that's the only way I could say it. And to compare it to computers, it takes just a little tiny thumbnail. God knows how much you got to put on there. That is what's going on inside you.
Energy pixels?
Yeah, well, those pixels are little. If you just stand back and watch them, they begin to be the extension of you.
Are they energy? Are they made like a divine energy?
It's a life force. It's light. You actually see little pixels of light. And they're equivalent to electromagnetism that you use this. Look how much information you get in this little piece of junk. The brain has capacity, but it has a capacity in two ways. You come into the world, and since you come into the world, your mother is the world, and your father is the failing father that needs to love the hell out of her. And he doesn't understand it because the pull is there. And in the scriptures, it's so beautiful. If I could get the right words, I'll try. Because you've done this thing, so shall you leave your mother and father and become bonded to your wife as one flesh. What does that tell you? The woman's in charge. The woman needs to be rescued. She needs to have the hell loved out of her. But the man is the extension of that, and he cannot. He looks to the cow, like the bull, and that's all there is to it. See? And he's addicted to it. He's got feeling, and the feeling he gets is from the woman. And the woman at first thinks, oh, that's love. He's looking at me. But what he's really doing is bringing the worst out of her, not overcoming the worst in her. And he doesn't understand it. He thinks sex is love. And the more he gets, the more he wants. And if he gets, he becomes an appeaser, and his wife hates him. And if he doesn't get, he becomes a bully, and she gives in. You're dead. Everybody's dead. You're just living. And you never find paradise lost. You're meant to live forever. Every one of you here is meant to live forever. Just like Adam is real. If you don't eat of that tree, you could have everything in the garden. And I can give you everlasting life. See? The woman speaks. The woman is the extension of him. And less than him. So it is God, man, woman, devil, dark. She is the creature of the dark, but savable by the man. But everything got upside down because you've done this thing. This is what's happening. Your wife is God, and the devil behind her, but you can't say it. But this is what it is. You can't say what God is, but he expresses himself through him to her, and it also expresses its self through the woman to the man. So everything is backwards, if you get the message. And every human being comes into the world, and the man will always fail. And you come into the world with intuition, but you have a father that fails, and a mother that's being screwed, or screwing him, by allowing him to do it and having pleasure seeing him demoralized, hungrily demoralized. That's all there is. Don't tell me there's happiness, because happiness isn't happiness. There's no such thing as happiness. With our football players, they win. I don't even know anything about football here. I don't even watch it. So it's got some interesting names. And I don't know them especially. I don't care about knowing them. I like to play football, but I don't like to watch it. I don't want to be entertained. I'm always looking for truth. I watch the news. I look at science. I just look. I'm looking at trees and flowers and bees. I'm always aware of now. How can I say that? I think there's a place, be still and know. I'm God, you ain't. So what does being still mean? Well, you're not still when you're busy trying to fix yourself. Is that correct? Why don't you give it up? You stupid people. Give it up. But you can't give it up because you're a slave. You're a slave of your mother. You're a slave of your mother. And every woman comes into the world a slave of her mother. And the boy, male child, also a slave of the mother. But the father wants to take everything over, so he becomes a bully. And when he becomes a bully to his wife, and she gives in, she emboldens him. And emboldening the bully, he starts to bully the kids. Because he's now a bully. He's not just an ordinary person. He's worse. Who understands this? Yeah. I'm trying to make it simple. You can go home and you can get better just by doing what an 8-year-old kid did. Oh, that's interesting. And I let it go. And I've been letting it go to this day. I didn't know I was different. Everybody who tried to tease me or bully me, well, okay, if they'd run away. I controlled my sergeant, teaching me to, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, wrong, right, wrong, everything else. I drove that man crazy, literally crazy. I did everything he wanted me to do, but I wouldn't react. He tried everything. He tried to make the platoon go around the, what do they call it when you have shooting and blowing up? I can't remember.
Obstacle track?
Yeah, what was it?
Obstacle.
Obstacle track. I say it's been such a long time. And send them all around again and blame me. And then I can remember all those guys being angry with me, as if it was I did it and he did it. And so he pulled the ring around me of all the men that I was entertaining and had some influence over in a nice way. But it's easy to transfer their loyalty to that man again, see, because he's got the power. And so I'm standing there with a 250, 60-pound person, and I'm 150. I'm just saying this very simply, no fear, not at all. What can I do with that big Goliath? I said, it comes like this. I don't know. I'm not saying it. I'm just standing there. I said, okay, let's take our jackets off. Okay. So I took mine off like this. And he put his hands, and when he got his hands behind his back, wallop. And he went to sleep for 2 hours. Now, I didn't plan that. That thought came to me. But it wasn't, I can't think of it as a thought. I thought it was his natural thing to do. Natural. To confuse. But I didn't think of it in terms of confuse. It's another time, and I've told you this before, a gang settled next door. But there's a space between us. The house wasn't there. And they're all gang members. I'm not saying this to be smart, but I'm an 150-pound guy. That's it. And I've never lost a fight. Never, except one time. And that, I don't want to tell you about that. I came home bleeding, but it was my own fault. I didn't follow the rule. I took it on myself, which is not good. See?
When you picked up that phone, you've showed that to us I don't know how many times. And that's where...
When you picked up what?
When you picked up your phone and you said it's the energy from the phone, the most beautiful thing that I got to see this week is that we all are programmed the same.
Everybody on earth.
Exactly. So when I was able to separate that something inside of me and finally get to see it, now, and it's not like it's going to be perfect all the time, but now when you yell at me, and I don't mean you because when you yell at me, it's good. If a person on the street would just come up and yell at me, you get to also take it from them because it's separate. So that's why you don't have to react, because once you see something as a truth, it just all of a sudden is mind-blowing because it's the truth to everyone.
Well, I just wanted to discuss what you said about shouting. There's good shouts and bad shouts. There's good love and bad love. They both have the same label. And so if you have anger in your voice, your children will sense it, and you're not his father. You start to resent them. And if you're too sweet to your children, they take advantage of you. But they want to be corrected. And the mother wants to be corrected. But she doesn't know that. But the man should know it. And the decent women, the good women, they know they give a husband trouble. They know that they can't help themselves. But they love the fact that the father, the husband, says, put that down. I said, put it down. That's not the same thing as emotion. That is authority. You don't get it in a nice way, you're going to get it in a stronger way. And if you want to run away and you want to divorce me, screw you. Excuse the expression. I don't care about outcome. I wait. I just sort of, to make a point, when those gang members were going up and down the street, with, doing this with the cars, boing, 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 I don't know how they do that. But they were sarcastically doing that to me and running up and down. It's a dead end. And the police couldn't catch them. And I went to all the people there. They were terrified. And so one day I just stood in the middle of the street, and a car comes at me. I don't move. My legs are stuck. I mean, they're not stuck. I just stand there. That car stopped right here. I didn't care. You want to play? Now, I'm not going to say I'm some glorious, powerful person. I have it as a gift. I have it as a gift. And good people, wise people, not obstinate people like most of you, they get it right away. They see it. I had just a recent experience of I can't remember all the details, so I don't want to go into them. But you do see that what I'm speaking about is so simple, it's hard. Because the tendency is for you to think of it as an achievement. It's not an achievement. It's not involved. The achievement is not involved. It's usually suffering. When you come into the world, you have intuition. But the intuition is overrun by the power of parent, power of education. Because that's what you're coming into. You don't know those people. You don't give your children, you don't go to the school and say, here's $100,000 worth of diamonds or gold. Would you mind taking care of it for me? How many school teachers would run like that? What kind of confidence can you have in that? You don't know them. You don't know the teachers behind the door. They're not the same. And the children know it. And some kids can see it so well that they don't want to go to school. And the others that react want to go to school because the teacher loves what that he or she put in them. His loyalty has been changed. And I've been saying this ever since I've been on the air 55 years. Don't send your kids to school. I took my kids out. And they're all successful. Well, one of them is a bastard, but never mind. Jesus says, this is what I begin to understand as you grow older and you have children of your own. You think all your children can be perfect. They can't be. Simply because blood does not flow. How do I say this? I have to say the whole quote. And Jesus says, oh dear.
Virtue does not come from the blood.
But that is what I say.
Yeah.
He says, think not, I've come to bring
Peace.
a sword. No.
Peace.
Peace.
Think that I've not come
That's
to
right.
bring
Peace.
peace.
Peace, but a sword. And there's father against son, brother against sister. Every family has that. It's rare otherwise. It's it's impossible. But it doesn't flow in the blood.
Well, it all comes from your willingness to see. So each of us as individuals, just like you kept saying to me, what's wrong? Why can't you see it? And I don't know why I couldn't see it. It doesn't matter.
When you were a little girl, could you see it?
You know what, Roy? I don't remember. So I just have to come from
May I
this moment.
suggest that you take it easy and wait to remember? Because unless you can, it's there. When you came into the world, like everybody sitting in this room, every child has it. Even a Borneo cannibal has it, but the power around them, and the cannibal king, like Obama is a cannibal king, as he comes to love all the presidents that represent the dark side of the force.
That's where I see that I wanted love so bad.
Now,
I
here we
didn't
go.
care
Here we
where
go.
I got it. So that's where appeasement in my life came from, because I wanted...
Hold it. Stop right there and say it again.
I wanted...
And say it again. I want you to hear what you say.
Okay.
You hear what you say.
Okay.
Okay.
I said that I wanted love so bad that I didn't care where I got it from.
Sleeping. Bored. Or getting better.
You want me to give you rest of your lecture?
saying.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Well, so just seeing that, I created in my children, I just wanted them to love me. My concern was not to love because I thought I loved them. I did not. But I needed it so anybody in my life, if you liked me, I accepted you.
But that's a terrible sickness.
Horrible. Because I was always for the underdog and I never understood. And now I realize there was a sadness inside of me because I wasn't loved. And now I realize no one can love me. I only can know the love of...
Stop. No one can love you. Not in their state.
Correct.
She can't love you. She can't. Well, she is likely to do it. An exception. She comes because whenever she comes by. I think you say, you live here now, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. So she used to drive a truck, right?
I have, yes.
Yeah. And we're running all over the place. And whenever she could, she would come. That was different. Now, you've been coming a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And we now are getting nice and close to what you need to see.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have intuition when you were born. And it will tend not to reveal itself until you're about 2 or 3, and occasionally just a year and a half, to see the disgusting parents you have who think they're going to college or having some kind of power and education or religion. The knowledge of good and the knowledge of evil are both wrong, because the knowledge of good is a lie. The kind of good we have is a lie. We hide it. We do nice things. We pretend to be a lover when the person is hungry like you. And all it does is make you give your life to them and appease you and love you and take advantage of you, and then turns around and you hate them. And when you hate them, you're guilty. And when you're guilty, you think, well, maybe because there's a good side in you, I don't want to be guilty. So maybe I am guilty. Maybe I didn't deal with him right. I'm going to love him again, and love him again, and love him again, and love him again.
But that's
like a machine gun.
Relationship with my own children, too. Because I can see wanting to love them and wanting them to love me creates such an evil presence, because there's no God anywhere in all of that. There's just a human need for something that's created.
But you are tilted in that direction.
Yes.
And I know I've spoken to her. She gets it, but you don't. Thousands of people get it. Oh, right. I get it. But you have to have suffering. You come into the world of suffering. When you come into the world comes into you. Or the culture as the world comes into you. So God forbid you were in Hitler Germany. God forbid you're in Borneo, man-eating people. Because what are you going to do? Mother loves the child and makes that child to be sure to eat 3 people a month. And otherwise she doesn't want to have anything to do with you. And it's a matter of politics. So when you become a killer and a meat eater of humans, then you're going to feel comfortable, because it makes you, when you feed off somebody, when you don't have love, you don't have what we're talking about, they get it from other people. They get it from innocence or relative innocence. And murder. To feel strong. You're not going to do it to me anymore. Las Vegas. comes from a whole team of wicked people. And each child born into that family situation are all the same. But one is more than the other. One was going to go out, they kill, I'm going to kill more. ISIS, same thing. With more information, which I'm not going to talk about now. Every one of you has a sense of killing somebody. How many people in this room, I asked the question, and that has thought of killing themselves or killing other people? There you are, you see. But to the degree you are being demoralized, it gets worse. You can hold on to that. You can put a smile on your face. And you can get away with it, and people love you, but it makes you worse. It emboldens you with whatever's in there. Listen, I don't mean to be rude, but you've got to get your things together. I can't cure you. Roy Masters can't cure anything, but what's in me does it. And what is in me, you recognize. And how quick Jesus cured people just like that. And the reason for it is because they recognize where he's coming from. And you too need to be like that. Am I making it clear? So all the good people don't need me. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't come back, because if I was in a place like Los Angeles where people would come back because they like to listen on Sunday morning, there's always something you can learn, but they're getting better. But you're all dead, except a few. You're dead from the neck up. If you don't mind me saying so, it's like this. This is how you all look. You got variations of that face. And the way you carry yourself, the way you don't do any exercise, the way you eat too much. I could tell you 1,000 times, why are you eating so much? I'm hungry. I'm always hungry. Well, the hunger is not for food, it's for fulfillment from God. That's the food. I have the food you know nothing about. When do we get understanding all of this? But all the people, Christians and I forget the name of a person who, because I had sexist. It took some of my words away, so I can't speak as good as I used to be. It's coming back. But I miss words sometimes. But I'm doing the best I can. So I'm going to sit here like an idiot and asking you to tell me what the word I'm looking for. And if you're listening carefully, you could actually get it in context, you see. Now, I'm coming back here every week. What you need to become is perfect. You've got to become perfect. But it only takes 10 seconds to become perfect. Now, when the Bible says, become perfect as your Father in heaven, all the Christians say, no, that doesn't believe that. It does believe it, because they got a wrong having knowledge and not common sense, which is different. That perception, which is different. They believe the words. They think, well, there's something wrong with the Bible. That's what the preacher will say. You can't be perfect. You can. A little bit at a time. a little intuition. Little, little, little. Oh, I see that. Oh, I see that. That leaf is beautiful. I see the still dandelions that flow away. Wow. How does that plant make those little fluffy flowering things with little, I don't know how to explain, little parachutes, little tiny. Dandelion, is it?
They're
right?
actually seeds.
Yeah?
They're seeds. Seeds.
Yes.
Seeds.
And
They're
it
the
carries a
seeds.
seed, but it flows. How does it know? How does it multiply itself that way, another plant or whatever it is in another way? There's magic to that. You came from a seed that you can hardly see through a magnifying glass. How did it have all the informations we take for granted? Oh, she's pregnant. Oh, look at that big bump. Oh, there's the baby. But you don't ask, how can it create such a complicated human? But the complication is also in, what's the name of that plant?
Dandelion.
Dandelion. You blow it, and all these little parachutes shoot up, each one carrying what the plant is going to be. Now, human beings, animals die, and they have to multiply. So it refreshes everything, because if they live forever, they'd just be machines. Everything would be dead, and nobody would eat each other. I mean, you can't conceive the fact that animals eat each other. We eat fish and chicken, and we eat plants. Well, we're eating a plant. It's growing out of the ground. And it keeps growing out of the ground. No matter how much you actually plant the seeds so you can eat them. Everything eats each other, and everything dies. Nothing has what humans have. We are not like that. But we're born into that, and that came into us. And it had to happen because you need, the scripture said it, so I have to say it because it says it better than I can say it. Everything bad is good. Everything bad happens for good, for those that love the Lord. Judgment is mine, saith the Lord. I will pay back. You don't. You don't judge. You don't get angry and look down your nose at them and want to get above them and figure things out and try to do it again and lose, or try to do it again and win. And all of a sudden, you're what they are, and they what you are. And that happens. But the smart ones get stronger and stronger, and they become politicians. The real good ones are the politicians. They smile. It's like the scribes and Pharisees, right? These are creatures of a little pile, little tiny thing. They're still the same, come into the same world. But they come into the world evil with the knowledge of good. And everything they say is good. Everything they say is real. But you can twist it. I'll give you just one word. You say, or two. Fundamental well, one person.
Transformation.
Yeah. Fundamental transformation.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. He's such a nice person. He's a liar. And your material, and your people who run the newspapers, what do they call that? Say I'm losing.
The media.
The media. They always lie. The best place you can be if you want power is media. They can lie. They can. There was a. I wish I could say what the person was, but he says. Karl Marx. That's it. He says, accuse others of what you do. Can you see how upsetting that can be?
That's one of the rules for Saul Alinsky as well. He taught that well.
Yeah, follow Linsky, Schminsky.
Yeah.
People know how to do it without him.
Well.
They learn it. Just it comes into when we lose our intuition. That's what comes in us, and we don't need Linsky, Schminsky. It's always there. He just put a mouth to it. See? People can make you, accuse you of what they are. And it works. It works because you react. But it doesn't work on me. And it won't work on you. Because he cannot upset you. And the only reason why he has to be nasty to you first, and rather than just take you out, is because he's delicate. The dark side is delicate in making sure that he can get something to eat. Because if he was playing with a Jesus, he'd drop dead. Just for trying. I have hundreds of people dead. I've only just recently seen it. Why are they dying? So much so, my daughter had a trouble with a very wicked person in business and did a lot of trouble and made her life miserable. And she picks up the phone and says, my father, he loves me. Diane will, if you ever hear Diane, she will tell you exactly, but I'm not going to say exactly because I don't remember it perfectly. And she says, if you do this to me, you will probably die from this. He says, what's the matter? What are you meaning about that? And she puts me on the phone. And I had never said that. I said, I warn you, I love my daughter, and you're not going to be able to do, and you heard what she said. Now, I'm not going to say that, but I warn you, don't mess with my daughter. That was it, very clear. And so they had to go to a long way down to Texas because she's in the carnival business, you know, in food and things like that. They go to all these different situations, and she does very well. But in those days, she didn't have that much money. But they went anyway, and they were calm. And the man didn't get his way. And he had a good brother, and the result of this was the brother loved Diane because he saw what he was doing to her. And she was doing business with him too. And he had to go to hospital for something. He had a scratch on his finger. And just a scratch, something, it got infected, I suppose. He died. No reason. What I'm saying is, if I can get you, all of you here, to become perfect. Now remember what perfect is. Perfect is a teeny little thing. And a teeny little thing is me. I got that little lump in my stone in my solar plexus when I was 8 years old. And my 9-year-old cousin Arnold, he was cruel. I I felt that stone, and it was puzzling. I thought of it. Well, I let it go. I've been letting things go like that my whole life and didn't know I was different.
When I come here, and a lot during the day, because I have it right now, I always thought I was evil or I was bad when I had that. But all you have to do is just let it be there. And it's so...
Just tell me what you think you should do now. Not because you're not the kind of person that will imitate me.
No.
You're going to speak your heart.
No, I see.
Do you get how simple it is?
Roy, this
Of
week,
myself, I can do
know,
nothing.
and it's-
Listen, say to yourself, just say it to yourself, of myself, I cannot do nothing. The Father within me, He doth it.
And that applies to the truth, and it applies to the wrong side of you too, because you cannot do anything to the evil, because all you have to have is God. Just like you said, you stood there grounded, and nothing could hurt you. And
No, I didn't care if I died.
But I see that, because the thing that sits there, whether it's just being the light, just is showing something to me, and that's just a product of that, it doesn't matter anything. Nothing matters. You just have to be still. I know I probably sound funny, but it's like, I swear to you, I don't know why, but I just woke up.
Just now?
Last week when you yelled at me, because instead I kept saying to you, just tell me I'm
the
good,
dad you never had.
Yeah, but that was the love.
Do you understand that?
I do.
And so when I screamed at you, it wasn't a typical bully. It is authority.
But you somehow in that moment, and I don't know if however it happened, because I didn't, let me say this differently. When you were yelling at me, I wanted people to like me in that moment. I wanted you to say, because you said to the other little girl, you've got it, sweetheart, good for you.
She does.
No, she does. She's a sweet girl. And then when you didn't say that to me,
you got jealous.
I was like, it pissed me off, and I was jealous.
Jealous.
But then I saw that was my whole life. That was the thing in my whole life that's been grabbing for that attention.
But the only reason why you saw it is because I wasn't angry like another person. There's something authoritative in me that's good. That's all. So simple. Ta-da! Ta-da. You can go home now. You're not laughing.
The reason I like to come here too, obviously you're helping me, but I don't have anybody in my life right now that I get to hear this stuff or speak of it, because I'm just waking up.
Another lady behind there listening to it.
I'm so happy to hear what she's saying, especially
Yes,
the part.
she's saying good things.
Yeah.
Now, hold on to it. We'll get it back again.
Especially the part. I came here mainly because I've been feeling like I've got a grip on my brain, and it's preventing me from seeing.
Yeah.
There's this grip.
Yes.
And I guess what I'm getting from this is all I have to do is watch that. It's not something that I have to come here and have you put the cross on. I just have to see that it's there. And
exactly.
It's such a relief.
Hello. Oh, that's a naughty thought. My God.
And I don't think, I see that it's thinking now. I was playing with the thought, I've got this grip on my head that won't let me see, that won't let me realize something.
But it controls you, and the it is from your parents. Mm-hmm. And the parents, and their parents' parents, and their parents' 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 parents, all the way back to Paradise Lost.
So it's not something that
It's bars
has a
backwards.
power over me that I need to have expelled. It's just something that I need, it's there, and I just need to see
It's
that
there,
it's
it's there loving you. waiting for you to recognize it.
I didn't feel like I could move forward because it was there, and I was waiting for it to go away.
It will never go away.
It will never go away.
It never will go away until you see it never going away. And the minute you see it, it terrifies it. And then you begin to feel fear,
Yeah.
you know, and doubt.
Yes.
No, but it's not you that's feeling fear and doubt. It's it talking to you, making you think it's you that is doing all this nonsense.
Yeah, and I am beginning to see that slowly.
But the subtlety.
See that.
How many people can talk to you with this kind of subtlety and you get it?
That's why I feel like it's important for me to come here.
Yeah.
I mean,
I respect that.
it used to be that when you talked about becoming perfect, it just rattled me because I felt like I had to have this one-time experience and I had to be better all of a sudden. And when I wasn't,
No, it takes a lifetime.
I'm so glad to hear that because I
It
felt
takes a
like,
lifetime,
and
but-
it would make me scramble to get better and
I know,
work
but
at it.
let me
It
just
put
play
me
with
in
you.
a panic.
It takes a. If you have a waterboard, I think that's the name of it, and you want to go down the waves on a surfboard, there's the words. The minute you get on there for the first time, you fall off. You're not perfect. But if you continue in a worldly way now, we're trying to make a point in a worldly way that applies in the spiritual way. And so I've tried to do that. I can't. I tried several times. I just fell off. And the water was going like this. It wasn't a 50-foot wave. But if you can persevere and you do it every day, and it's fun, and you keep trying. And this is in the moral way, the immoral, the worldly way. See, 2 or 3 years from now, you're going down a 50-foot wave like it's nothing, and experiencing what otherwise would kill you, to go over it and make it a pleasurable journey, and to do it more and more. Except they do it too much until that's all they've ever known, and they can't take that to heaven, basically speaking. But the principle is become perfect. The word is become. I'm not good at literature or language, but to become, is it a verb? Well, what is that word in that sentence? Is it, what is it? It's a doing thing, become. So the process is to become. And so the next thing that happens to you, if you just get a little, if somebody gets up to you and you can see them being annoyed, and you remember, you become aware because you have intuition. The intuition is now awake. And you see, and when you see it, it's your brother, or it used to get angry, all of a sudden it goes away. That is a little thing. And you wonder, your brother doesn't want to hurt you anymore. He has respect for you, or he tries again. And again, you don't respond. And the brother doesn't understand this. You get scared, leaves him alone, or pushes him. And maybe he fails at the time, but he recognizes that he did wrong. It's a complicated little thing. Just like the stone, the rock that was in my tummy when I was 8 years old, and my cousin, he said something or did something, I don't know even what it was. It turned into a stone. And for what it's worth, I just let it go. And if I look way back, beyond being 8, I remember, and I think it's in my mother's womb, or thereafter, where I couldn't speak, but the words were there, but there was no word that I can't say that. It's just very difficult to explain, so bear with me, so I have to play with it. What is the purpose of life? Because it took me, you know, maybe 15 years to keep hearing, what's the meaning of life? I'd asked my father, what's the meaning of life? He says, you have to find it yourself, son. Keep going. That's all he said to me. That was all. But when I heard that, it went back to a time when I didn't have any language. And so it seemed like language, but only when I got old enough to have language would I recognize what it was saying to me. See that?
I do remember when I was about 3
Can you?
having that intuition, and several instances we lived in San Diego and they had, I can just remember specifically there was just a huge mound of ants on the sidewalk, and for some reason I was on the sidewalk and these ants started crawling all over me, and it didn't affect me one way, or it did not bother me whatsoever that I had these ants all over me. I just started brushing them off. And we also had neighbors, and I could sense that these neighbors, for whatever reason, didn't like me. I don't know why. I could just sense that they didn't like me, but it didn't bother me one bit.
How soon have you learned that? When did you learn that?
I've known that for a long time.
But why are you here then?
Because I'm not in that space anymore.
What was that?
I'm not in that space.
You lost it.
I did at some
Lost it.
point lose that, but I have memories of having
I know,
that
because you were little. Those memories are when you were little.
Yes.
That's it. You lose it. When you come into the world, that's what happens. The world comes into you. That's it. Comes into you. And so in that little, so now you go to the scriptures again, it says, unless you become a little child, you can always enter the kingdom of heaven. Can anybody tell me what that is? Anybody? Unless you become, meaning intuitive. You can translate that if you want to, because the English versions and the American, I can't remember the name of the Jewish language. There's a
Hebrew?
Aramaic, yes. Is one of the language Jesus understood and lived by. So unless you become like that little child you had when you had intuition. So there it is again. Unless you become as a little child, meaning you have to remember you had that when you were born and you lost it. And when you start searching, the light will come on and says, remember when you were little and you saw injustice, cruelty, and you reacted to it? That's all normal. Everybody has that. When you get angry enough and upset enough, and you're seeing that nothing you do works, and you become like everybody else, you're troubled. You want to know what the meaning of life is. Here I am. That's it. It kicks in as a little child. You've lost it. You lost all that. And so the little child quality of beginning to see injustice and became angry and then lost it and became them. That's what everybody has to go through. You're standing in your parents' shoes, and then you have to go back, and there's a memory that you can never forget, or unless you don't want to remember to forget it, to see. You can actually choose not to hear it, because you're doing so good over all the evil and foolish people. You're better you're a bigger evil than they are, see? Or you're an appeaser. I know how to eat him, see? Or you can become one of them and always feel superior. And as you take his life force away from him and make him a slave of you. Nearly all of you are slaves of somebody in a system of slaves. The whole country is a system of slaves, even on the right. But on the right, there's a little piece left. And this time, there's more on the left who think perversion is freedom. The freedom to drink, smoke, screw, whatever they want to do. Anything. That's called freedom. No, that's not freedom. That's slavery. But they don't know it. Because everybody is doing to others what was done to them. So everybody feels him more important than the person he's doing in. Or the person, if he doesn't want to become a bully, he has to become an appeaser of a bully. That's how war starts. A nation appeases. And appeasement looks like love. Or is this emboldening war? If you appease, you get to embolden the bully. And those who are in the knowing, educated, they understand all that, like the devil.
Yes, if I can talk,
I know.
I lost it at 5.
You what?
I lost my innocence at 5. When I was 5,
Yeah.
Sorry, my mouth is.
So I have that too. I'm getting better.
Yes, my parents left me alone to walk to school, and my mind was flooded with worry and doubt and all these thoughts. My mind started racing, and that's when I lost that innocence. And I saw the world. I saw the hate in people around the world. I'm seeing that now in people, the resentment, hate. That's what they live on. And I'm dealing with a lot of people hate me now.
They hate you because you can see through them.
I see that, but I don't hate them.
I know. And that's what you have to go through all your life. I got a family, devilish, dangerous. They want to take me down. Their own father. Yes, you'll hear about it one day. But I can't do anything about it. I tried. And I said, you're willful. That's all wrong with you. And you have a will, and you have your way, but not with me. But he has a way, a will and a way. And what he's learned is all the things I have taught him, he took it upside down and made it work for him. He knows exactly how to demoralize and overcome almost anybody. I created a huge animal, but that's not my fault. I can't bear the burden of that.
You didn't create that.
Pardon?
You didn't create that. Something inside his own self created that.
I understand that. No, well, what it was his mother sitting here, and she didn't know. I can remember she didn't know. She really didn't know. The way she talked, I told you, every person, man or woman, is the extension of the woman because of the failing of men. And all men come into the world, and as long as they listen to their mothers because their fathers are not there, he's too busy having pleasure with her or hating her for not giving it because he's used to it. And she wakes up one day and says, no, no more, I'm going to run away. Bingo. See, he's on his own. But he's now got something in him that shouldn't be there. And it will grow and grow. But this son of mine is dangerous. So dangerous you have no idea. And one day this people will say, how is that could be Roy Masters? But I say to you, virtue isn't in the blood. And so what he did, he's brilliantly wicked. Brilliantly wicked. I have to deal with that. He's trying to take over the country. What we're doing here is brilliant. But he has a will, and I have a way. He will not achieve what he is doing, even though he has the confidence, confideo, confidence. Doesn't bother me a bit. He can't play with me, but he gets others to play with him, for him, to me. He's trying to take the foundation away from him, away from me.
But why would he even want that if he's evil?
Correct.
But it doesn't make sense that he would want that.
No, it does make sense.
It does make sense.
It makes sense because it doesn't run in virtue doesn't run in the blood. And so I have tremendous experience, as you must understand. Every little trick, I may find a few more before I leave this earth. He gets it too. He turns it around and learns how to control. And there's a lot I could say about that. And when you hear about it, which you will one day, it's going to come to a war. Open. I am old, and he's young and more powerful. But now I have to deal with him. I've dealt with him, and he hasn't had his way. And he gets more frustrated, and he gets more frustrated, and he gets sick, and he's dying, and he doesn't know it yet. And I don't give a damn. It's that simple. I have no compassion for that.
That almost sounds like a Bible story.
It is a Bible story. It's very simple because they all had the same thing. Who was it that had 12 kids? And Joseph?
Joseph.
Yeah, it was Joseph. They sold him and had a red coat with blood and told the father, oh, he got killed by a mountain lion or something and died. But it became the 12 aspects of Israel, right? In the end, it had a nice ending. But I'm not sure this is going to have a nice ending.
But all things, even the bad, is made good, saith the Lord.
Well, it's good for me, and it's bad for him. Until he sees that it's bad and wrong, he's dead. He's as good as dead, like all of you. Because you either get worse every day or better every day. That's all there is to it. And you cannot miss a trick. And the wicked one doesn't miss a trick. Because he makes sure that he has his way. He picks the right ones for his wrong. time to wake up, Anne. I hope you get better this time.
Mr. Masters, I remember when I was a little girl, really young, and our home was in a turmoil, and I just wanted to get away, and I was going to run away. So, like on cartoons, I'd put a little handkerchief on the end of a stick, and I walked down to the end of the road where there was a pasture with cows and such. And
How old were you?
Oh, probably 5 or 6 years old. And I went out in the middle of this pasture with all these cows, and there were all these little tiny birds eating the seeds out of the, everything. And I sat down because it was so vast. This pasture was so huge. And I realized, I thought, well, okay, where am I going to go? and then something told me to go back home, and I go, all right, I'll go back home.
But you are a very intuitive lady, and I like to hear what you have to say. That is basically what I have been through. Same thing. Suddenly it talks to you, but it doesn't talk to you in words. The devil talks to you in words,
Right.
in pictures.
Right.
But what you have and what I have is only light coming through me and dissolving the animal emotional aspect. As long as you have emotion, you're going to die forever. If you die with emotion, it's just a hole in the ground and you stink. That's it. But if you take every situation with a pinch of salt, the way I describe it, and let God be the judge. And so when you have that, it's because of a stream of light each eye. A light comes through you, not same as the light that comes from the sun towards you like the lamps in this room. Light comes to you, which is valuable. The light of the sun is good for your sun tanning, basically. But this light dissolves emotion, and it gets you to see, oh, I see that. The minute you see it, gone. But it begins with simple things. Like, what am I doing with this bottle of wine? I remember that. What am I doing that for? Put it down. Now you can, I have, every now and then there's wine in my house, but there isn't now, it hasn't been for months, but every now and then it appears. I take a little sip. I find that's not appropriate. Really, it isn't. Jesus had wine because they had they didn't have clean water. They didn't have good water. And it was so healthy. It has a value. But everything has a value. Eating has a value, but you can kill yourself with it. Name something that you don't overdo, and it's the overdoing of it. Drugs, and especially food. Food is the most dangerous drug of all, if you make it a drug.
You're mentioning food. I was listening to you on the YouTube, and it was in relationship to Jesus, but you mentioned something about food.
I did.
And you were saying, and it really resonated with me, although I hope I can remember, that it doesn't necessarily mean what you eat, but it's almost like an attitude in the way in which you eat it, and how your body has a relationship with this food. And it's kind of like a blessing of the food for you, even though you may have diabetes or something, but it's not going to cause diabetes. I didn't really get the depth of what you were saying. I only got like a little tip of it, that it's the food
Well, the food is the disease, the suffering, a cause of all suffering. In the beginning, how did the first man? You can't catch a monkey changing into a man. Neanderthal man, we don't know who they are. They disappeared. And then nothing, because you have to, if you're going to make a Neanderthal man into evolution, this is like the animal. We are not evolutionary. We're not evolutionary. We're human beings, and the only thing that can happen is you have to discover what you're here for. And the monkey can't talk like that or think like that. It's just a monkey. But we have an awareness, and we have skills given to us. Look at all the skills here. Go back 10,000 years and see what you got. Nothing. But it only comes from a few people, a small number of people. Discover things. They discover things, and they discover things, and they know how to cut wood, and they know how to build anything. And it's still going on. But when it still goes on, without giving God his dues, there will be war. And it's in the scripture, thousands ahead, yet thousands of years ahead. He said, I shall give, if I can remember it, please. It's the end of the Old Testament, roughly. He said, there come a day when I shall give the children back to their father, and the father back to the children, and the children the other way around. Because unless that happens, I shall smite thee with a curse. And in the end days, I remember the little pieces. He says that the world will be at war. I'm not going to get the right words, but I can remember what it meant. He says, there'll come a time when the whole world is at war, and no one will be able to survive unless I intervene it. Here it is right now, right where we are. And if we had anybody but a Donald Trump, there would not be any chance. He is meant for that. And I too, in my own way, he is a good president. He knows exactly what he's doing. It's almost like he's been listening to me for years. I know his wife listens to me. Which one, I don't know.
Oh, dear.
But he has to make his mistakes. And that's it. He found a decent woman. And
She's by his side, that's for sure.
yeah.
Back to the food, and another one I heard you say that, you know, when you eat meat, the cow dies, but it lives again in you. And it's kind of like the same thing that I heard you say on this tape, and I don't know how to express it very well, but I understood it somehow, that it's blessing your body if you...
Eat this remembering me.
Yeah.
I do that now.
And there's a blessing on that.
I become aware. I become aware. I see. Now, I become aware of what he said, and it's quite remarkable. If you're overweight, and if you're addicted to food, there's a curse on it. You will die from 100 different diseases. You will die from it. And if you look at the country today, nearly everybody, including me, has a sickness to death, except mine is not the same. I had to go through. I swam in the canal, in front of my house, and there was a disposal plant just up the coast, but you can smell it on certain days, and they never announced that the water was filthy. You know, got the stuff that leaked into the canals.
Contaminated.
Yeah. So I swam and ate is some kind of bug that ate a piece of my internal life, part of me there. I can't remember it because memory's not good then. And it lasted me for 3 or 4 years. All I could eat was porridge, nothing else. And so that led to one after another, all the different things in medicine. I went through all of them, and I survived all of them. I had heart problems, and from that. And they operated on me, it lasted 3 years, and I was back again. And I thought I was having another one, because it felt like that. But lo and behold, when I went back to a friendly doctor in Los Angeles, he said, I've got good news and bad news. I said, give me the bad news. He says, your bypass failed. I said, well, what's the good news? He says, you've got brand new arteries. How did that happen? I'll talk about that some other time. My blood pressure, thank God, is about 105, 10, 15, over 60 or 70. That's it. Pulse, 65, roughly. That's like an athlete at my age. All the suffering. And 3 times they tried to murder me. Not the hospital, but in Grants Pass, I have a bad reputation, and people want to kill me. And how they did it, I won't talk about that right now. I survived it all. Presently, I'm just going to touch on it very carefully, but a nurse of a certain person caused sepsis. I won't go into it, but I have evidence that she tried to kill me. She hated me all these years. She couldn't handle. Always polite, hateful. Always polite, hateful, but you can see it. I got the sepsis, collapsed that same day. I was out for 4 hours, and I came back. And the evidence was there, but I've never said anything about it. Judgment is mine, saith the Lord. I will pay back. Got it? It comes to that. Trials and tribulations, I've had many. I always came out of it in very mystical ways. Look, I'm still strong. I've lost a little mental memory. It's coming back. I'm going through everything you are going through, but I'm surviving every one of them.
How do you get
I'm almost 90. Do I look 90?
No.
I should be all crinkled up. I'm not. You want to fight?
How do you get rid of the rock, the stone that infringes?
It went away by itself.
No, I've still got it. I mean, for me,
yes, because you get upset with it. You get angry. You see, you think you can save yourself. Did you create yourself? That's what I want to know. And do doctors
Not
really
in the right way, I didn't.
Doctors really cure you? They'll only help you live a little longer. And then you become wronger. And then when you become wronger, it repeats itself. So you can be 80 and 90, but just shriveled up nothing. But then I saw a picture of a lady who was 105, and she looked like 60. I said, and she's in the video, she's laughing and joking. Amazing. And she does exercises and gymnastics. And this woman, swear, she may be 50. Her hair, no wrinkles. You can live forever. And when soldiers die, and when a hand grenade goes on the ground and he sees quickly, in a second, he throws himself on the what did I say?
The blast.
Grenade, yeah. And then Jesus has said something about that. He says, if I can remember the verse.
Greater love has no man
And
that he gives
laid down his life for his friend.
Yeah.
But then you say, well, how can you live forever? That's a good question. But I still believe it.
There's a man. I saw this on YouTube or something. This man was sitting in a theater. He was 120 years old or thereabouts. He was an old man that got these Jews out of Germany during World War II when he was younger. And the people in the audience at the time, he didn't know, but they were all the descendants of the people that he saved. And they all stood up and clapped in appreciation of this old man. And it's in the historic records, but he got
I'm not getting what you're trying to say.
Well, he basically had a purpose. He was somebody found his purpose, and he lived a long time, I think, because of that. He was a blessing given to him. Maybe it's a little bit off track. I don't know.
I haven't gone through all the medical, millions of dollars on me. I wouldn't be able to afford all that unless I was on health care. But the point is, I had that journey. I could see that psychiatry and psychology don't know anything. And doctors who can cure cancer, they haven't found a way to cure cancer yet. And most of the people who survive get so fed up with it, says, I'd just sooner die and walk away. And they get better. Because they suddenly start listening to their common sense. That's how it works. It's not working. I'd rather die. That's good. It's how it works. You begin to see that you got cancer, and you're climbing up the wrong tree. It's not helping you. It's not. You see people dying, and they keep getting more and more medicine, and they die anyway. The people that lived don't really get better from the doctors. They get better because they suddenly see, and the doctors get the glory. Cancer is easy. One of the easiest cures, diseases to cure, is if you can find that person who understands it. In a day, it's gone. 1 day or 2 days. It immediately starts to go away. Wendy, you know somebody that, don't you?
I do.
I didn't know I did it. I didn't know. I just found out that she had cancer. She didn't tell me. But you know about it.
I know.
And you brought it up just several months ago, I think. And then there's some friends, I won't go into this deeply, But I've known them since they were little boys, and they work for me, and then they work for my son and all the rest of it. What was I going to say?
The father.
Oh, yes, the father. The mother was wicked, the kids were small, and the oldest one was 5. And he grew up and he worked with me, and as he worked with me, he became a better person. Of course, something's gone wrong. We won't go about that. What I did, though, when his father was pushed away and the mother was involved with the children, and she worked for me, and she was not a nice lady. And then she died. Okay. And then the husband came in, and when he came in, he had cancer. But when we had a nice talk one day, and then I didn't hear from him anymore, his cancer went away right away. And he's still alive, and I met him once or twice, and he loves me. But it only took a few minutes to do that. Truth is medicine. If you love the truth, you love God, and He will cure you of everything. Because you've never seen an animal with cancer. You never see an animal eating too much. They don't have any choice. They don't have intuition. They don't have the freedom to be wrong. It's simple. I mean, you can put an animal and give him all the food he wants. It's only take enough to walk away. If you take a pigeon and you give him too much food, if he took that food, he couldn't fly away, and he gets eaten by a cat. Why don't you people get it? It's so easy. Meditation. Close your eyes. Look at your eyelids. Why am I doing this? This is ridiculous. Be still and know, it says, and know I am God. This is what it is. You're being still. You're taking your soul from the interference. That's not the right word, but I'll use it anyway. You experience when you sit quietly and stand back and look at the pixels crossing the screen of the mind. In a dark room, you can still see it. And what you're looking at is with another light. There's the light of the sun. Then there's the light of the soul. And animals can never know that. They're meant to die and to be eaten and being eaten. That's it. That's the world. It keeps it nice and fresh. They multiply and they eat the multiplications. And there's always enough for more multiplications.
Can I ask you just one quick question? With the meditation, I've known of your meditation for 30 some odd years, and I used to just sit still for a long time, but nothing worked. And now, sometimes instead of being able to be aware of my hand, it's almost like a mental block, but I can breathe. So does it have to be your hand? It has to be your hand? Okay.
The right hand of God.
Okay.
Why does it keep saying right hand of God? In the old days in Israel, you had to be very careful of the Pharisees and the Romans. You don't dare be pure like Jesus. He came into the world, and because he was so bright, he was brighter than anything. Anybody, and everyone was jealous. And Caesar would be jealous. And everybody else in power would be jealous because he was the Son of God. And everybody else think they were gods. in a matter of speaking, with power. Descending power, of course, but still power. Now, what you need, and we'll close the program for this morning, is simplicity. Of yourself, you can do nothing. Why don't you get it? All I can say, you need to go back to the factory. And the animals can't go back to the factory. They go back to some creature's stomach. That's it. But we have a realm, and there's a dark realm and a bright realm. And the dark realm is horrible when you experience it. You've got to say something's got to be better than this. And you tend to spin in that direction. But still, narrow is the way, and few are those that find it. But in these days, since we have radio, it's possible, and Facebook, it's possible to reach the whole world, which I'm trying to do now. I have to have skills, people with skills, to do that. I can't find enough of them yet. But there will be. Donald Trump has a skill. He knows he's not afraid. You can't move him. Wonderful. A wonderful husband. And a lovely lady who appreciates it. You couldn't have it better than that. But on the other side, on the left, who think freedom is perversity and pleasures and anything they want to do. They hate him. And look how many hate him. Half the country. If we the people did not elect that man, America would have been gone forever, and all hell would be going to break loose anyway. But we will survive it. With that man, no other man. And you will survive because I survive if you listen on a different level. That's all. Can you hear me? There's nothing for you to do. Nothing. So when you sit close, how difficult is it to look at your eyes and see those little pixels, because you see them before you go to sleep anyway. Or if you try to go to sleep, you'll see those pixels.
I see them when I wake up.
That's all right. I close my eyes, I can see them. I can see it. And if there's a picture that tries to take me away, and strange pictures will come. See, it's very strange. All you do is, and you find yourself 20 minutes later locked in something. Uh-oh, I've done it again. Don't get upset. The right side, the right hand of man is the left-hand side of the brain. But the right hand needs to be used because it's the right hand of God, only because he said it. It could have been the left one, but God wants it right. And the word right is appropriate. Right hand. Be aware of it. You wear this, and all of a sudden you can start to see, I can see my hand. I can see a hand within my hand. I can see it behind my back. I can actually see this here. You close your eyes, you can see it. Put your hand, you can actually see a hand within a hand. Have you know what I'm talking about? You just practice that, you'll see. You can actually see you have a hand within a hand, and a foot inside a foot. And I don't want to say anything more.
I hope not.
We have to have a little fun here. All right, well, thanks for listening. How long was this?
1 hour and 15 minutes.
Well, I think that was good enough. I think most of you got it, haven't you? So, listen, your ugliness, I mean this, your ugliness and your oldness will go away. It will take time, and you'll have enough life. You'll have enough life, even though you lived a rotten life, to bloom. I see you will. You will lose the weight. You will look more beautiful. And things go better for you. And all without you having to do anything but to listen to your heart. Does that make sense? Because if you don't listen to your heart from God and you listen to it from the world, it's a big difference. One is horrible death, and the other was beautiful life. And even if you can't see it, you intuitively know it, that it's real somehow, that you don't understand, and you don't need to understand, you need to believe, that's all. Simple. It's obvious. Why are we given awareness and not to animals? But we turn to animals when we're on the wrong side of the force, and we eat each other. We eat each other in many ways. In Borneo, it's cannibals. Is Adolf Hitler? Is just killing people. ISIS is in pleasure of enjoying them. And feeling guilty for having done it, and blame the person for the guilt he feels. ISIS does that. ISIS has 2 or 3 wives, or women. And when he wants sex, he's going to get it. And if not, she's going to get smashed and made to do it. But then all of a sudden, this is what you don't know. He has guilt. The ISIS bastard has guilt. But what does he do with the guilt? He blames the woman for it. Correct? That's what men do to each other, do to women.
I've been well versed in that one.
Well, you go home lighthearted. Go home and just take it easy. Because when I was 8, I let it go. And because I didn't know and knew I wouldn't know, it went through the whole life of mine. And I didn't know the gift I'd kept, that when I was born, I had a good dad and a good mom, but especially a good man. Unusual. 11 languages, built anything, but not proud, didn't say much. It was like a canopy, a glass one, over my house. And I could do anything, build things, play with electronics and chemistry. I almost blew myself up. I had to go to the hospital. I built ammonium iodide. You take some water, take some ammonia, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you take powdered iodine, and you pour it in there, let it sit for 24 hours, pour it off, and let it dry. But you better not let it dry. You can't work it, because if it gets dry, a beetle walking over it gives it warmth. It blows up. It blew me up. It blew me right up. And my mother goes, "Oh, help!" I went to the hospital with the glass in my eye. And so she got so annoyed, because I had these little capsules with it, with a little, while it was still wet, little capsules. You threw all those capsules, bang, boom. So I was working with everything, chemistry, electronics, all these things. I'd build one of those kinds of, if you could give me the name of it, a pinball machine. I built one out of cardboard, and it worked. But I don't know how I worked it, because I didn't know you have to have red and white so you can understand how to fix it. It was all the same black wire I was using. I couldn't figure it out. But I was 8 or 9, 10. Anyway, I appreciate you coming, and I do hope that you got it, that there's nothing you can do. It's okay. You've got to go back to the factory in your heart. I use the word factory, if you know what I mean. That's all. There's nothing to it. I see that. You start to see what you didn't want to see, or it didn't want you to see it. And it is afraid. When you start to become aware and willing to see what I'm saying, this demon inside who's been talking to you and through you all your life as if it was you speaking and you taking the suffering from it. And you have now to fix what you did when it was it being you. And so when you understand this, you're going to feel a little fear. And that fear should not be yours. That fear is it. It's being watched.
It's happening right when you, every time I came here before, I would always be like, I'd start to shake, I'd start to cry, because the identity of that thing was kept distracting me. And now, when you say it, it's okay, because...
Well, you see this? Mm-hmm. Want to hold it?
I can hold it. I don't feel anything at this moment.
Good.
I'm seeing...
That's good.
With such clarity that there's just, like you said, I just have to see it. So it doesn't have the power.
When you see it, it loses its power.
Yeah. And it's not gone. It's not gone because that fear is still there. But the fear now is that its own fear, like you said, because it's not my fear now.
It's not your fear.
It's not my fear now.
But it makes you feel like it's yours.
Thank God. Yes.
And when I said, accuse others of what you do,
yes,
that's what's going on. He's accusing you of doing what he says.
Yes.
See? And you believe it. It's like another person doing to you. In other words, what was the word how I said it before? Accuse others of what you do. It's Karl Marx and others. But there it is inside you. Karl Marx is inside you, what he said. Accuse others of what you do. That's what ISIS does to the girls, the women he has. And so when he does, he accuses them of giving him sex, but not properly. Therefore, he gets angry when he's finished, because while it was pleasurable, he liked it. And when the pleasure went away, he feels the guilt and blames her. And then she gives him again.
They've told me my whole life, everybody that knows me, they say, you're the guiltiest person I've ever met. Because it was always, I always knew truth, but whatever that thing was, it could trick me so much to believe it was myself. And now, I guess my journey's beginning.
What?
I said, and now my journey begins, because there's something
Yes.
different.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Tally ho.
Yeah.
And goodbye. Have a good morning.
Are you ready? That's funny.
Thanks for coming.